Well, good morning, everybody. It's November 27th, 2023, and it's the most favorite, most amazing, best part of the week because it's Mondays with Bev and Paul. Hi, everybody. My name's Paul.
Oh, good morning, everyone. This is Bev.
And it's the best time of our week because we get to see Bev, too. Hi,
Oh,
Bev.
yes, Paul.
And it's the best time of the month. A special day today, isn't it?
It is. Well, I think it was like 4:30 this morning. We entered into a full moon. Gorgeous full
Gorgeous. It
moon.
was huge, man. I watched it set yesterday morning, and as it
Oh,
did, it got huge. It was like,
I
whoo,
know
look
it.
at
I know
that.
it. Well, it's the energy of envisioning. Let's envision
All right, let's
something
envision, and
greater.
we're going to envision here how biotouch can be used for cortisol regulation.
Oh, boy, what an important,
and
important show this is going to
and
be.
we're going to share with you a little post that was done by our certified practitioner in Egypt, Hala Shaaban. And if you want to see the whole post, but I'm going to read a little bit of it here because I was amazed at what I learned by it.
I know. I
She
know.
says, when the body is wounded or injured, okay, now, and I've always thought about when I cut my finger or something, what's going on. When it's wounded or injured, it begins to mobilize its defense forces and enters an emergency. The level of cortisol rises to alert the immune system. But continuing to rise in cortisol level leads to a reverse effect by impeding the immune system and inhibiting its function. Interesting, huh?
I know.
In the event of not receiving the necessary treatment for the wound, it is exposed to contamination, the severity of inflammation increases, and the likelihood of infection increases and spreads in the body. One of the best techniques that help in this case is lowering the cortisol level, allowing the immune system to function unabated and to produce adequate and qualitative antibodies that fight inflammation and prevent the spread of infection. Here comes the role of biotouch, she says,
Yeah, right.
which helps the body naturally regulate the level of cortisol and stimulates the immune system to face the problem in a natural, balanced way. Simple touches that don't require much time or effort can make a big difference, especially with the absence of necessary medical procedures.
Man, that's yeah. When I read that, I'm like, wow. Well, here we go because this is very timely that Hala put this out there because as we know, boy, cortisol is the it's a very, very important process that happens in the body that can lead, as she says, to inflammation. As we know, the immune system dysfunction, which leads to autoimmunes. I mean, on and on and on, right?
Right.
Just crazy.
And it's interesting too because she actually signed it with a little thing in there, BioTouch for Gaza, and she had another thing about having this for the people in the
Oh,
Middle East there who are, I mean, you see the horrific photographs on all sides,
oh.
and just to have BioTouch there for emergency care, to, until you can get to a hospital, if there is hospitals, and to get, to families could do it. So this is such a vital technique
It
to
is.
get out to people. I
It
mean,
is.
even to the point where when I was working with my mother in ICU and she was in a coma, and I watched
Yeah.
people in the emergency care feeling helpless and hopeless. You get stuck in this cycle. Uh, and what we've found is how important BioTouch is for pre and post op, even if it's not just an accident, And
Right.
so, yeah, how do we know this? How do we know this? Let's show again the chart by Dr. Kenna Stephenson that all these stressors in our life give us a cortisol dysregulation and immune dysregulation. So, for most of us who live in this chronic stress cycle, operations, cuts, scrapes, broken bones, we're already in a cortisol dysregulation. And so, those, as she's saying here, those problems could be enhanced. Well, what Kenna Stephenson showed with some hormonal testing, it's not just questionnaire, She
Yes.
found that BioTouch improves circadian pattern of cortisol release, which improves the quality of life. And at the same time, she found an increase in interleukin 12, which improves the immune system function, increases the activity of genes that fight infection and cancer and promote healthy aging.
Wow. Just that touch, as Hala says, just that simple touch. This is why we can continue to reinforce the fact that when you practice BioTouch, what you are doing with those two fingers is giving that loving care to the body, which already understands and knows what it wants, what it needs, how it's going to use it.
Yes.
That is like this. Try to say that to people, and they're like, well, what? Yeah, no, it's the body that wants to be, its immune system, the cortisol patterns, the interleukin 12, whatever just in a place of health and balance and
Right.
wholesomeness.
And a
And
lot
that's
of
what BioTouch does, just by touching.
and anybody can do that. It's interesting.
Yeah.
There was another post I just before we came on the show. It was on a site called Native Americans Long Ago, and two lines in there. There were a whole bunch of them, but we do not become healers. We are healers.
Right.
We do not learn to love. We came as love. We are love.
Oh, well, there you go.
There's BioTouch in two little sentences.
There it is.
That's why you can all do BioTouch. You don't
Yep.
have to learn to become a healer. You don't have to go through certain gyrations and centering and
Nope.
bringing on from on high. You just take the two fingers and lightly touch some points on the body. And even if you don't get the right points, you can't hurt anybody. So it's not a science where, if you touch the wrong point, you're going to blow their brains up or something like that.
Well, I think just with you, we always say, there's really no intention with BioTouch. It's just an innate response to somebody, to another human being's
Right?
need for care or love or just feeling better. So that's just an automatic thing. And we always say two things are innate in all of us. Love is our innate nature, and being able to help another human being with BioTouch. That's innate in all of us,
Right.
period. Yeah,
Yeah,
there you go.
and it doesn't matter your station in life and
Yep.
your economics or
Nope.
it's the great equalizer.
It,
BioTouch is the
it
great
is.
equalizer.
It is the great
How can we get this
equalizer.
across to people? But we are getting it across. We've had in the past week dozens of new members to
I'm
wanted to
so
wanted
excited.
our manual. So if you want the manual, it's an ebook version, has links to the video. It's easy to teach yourself. And then I've had personal email responses to people. If you have a personal question, you contact us. One of us will get hold of you, and we
Right.
can take you through your particular issue that you're working on.
Yep.
And it's just it needs to be in the first aid kit. It's
This is what's happening. I was mentioning to you, I got a phone call on Saturday from a young man in Arizona, at a point where he is frustrated, and all this invasive procedures that he is facing, and people are looking for us. I've always said, when it comes down to a point of saturation, when society is like, oh my gosh, the old ways are not really working, we're already there. Just turn around, and here we are. And that's what this young man, he's asking me all these questions, and I just said, no invasion of your body, a light, gentle, loving touch that your wife can help you with and do immediately, and she will be immediately effective, and boom. And he's like, oh my gosh, I've just been pounding my head because I want something else. I want something different, something, he wants something that he feels cared for.
Right.
In much of the, community out there, you're not really getting that I really care for you feeling.
And then what's important for something like that, and I know I've been going through this, Jenny's been going through it, we all go through it, you get stuck in the loop of the
Yes.
medical model, which is based sadly on insurance claims
Yes.
and people not being sued. So a lot of these invasive measures they're in the standard protocol and they have to be recommended to you.
Yep.
And by doing BioTouch, when you bring your body into that less stress moment, let the cortisol levels regulate themselves, there's a clarity. It's like you feel refreshed when your cortisol levels are going up when they're supposed to, going down when they're supposed to, waking up feeling refreshed. When people's cortisol levels are whacked out, they wake up
Oh,
tired, and they get that
always.
two
Yes.
o'clock drag when their cortisol levels are supposed to be up there.
I know.
And so you can't make decisions like that. So even just by doing BioTouch to help you while you're making these decisions, you might decide to do that invasive surgery. That might
Right.
be what this body needs. One
It
thing
could be.
BioTouch has taught me is, it don't really matter.
Yeah.
Invasive, non-invasive. You do what your heart, your body, your mind are telling you. This is the procedures I need to do. This is the direction I need to go. And BioTouch definitely helps you just stop
Can
for a
help with
moment.
that.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Make those decisions. Yeah.
And and that's what we see a lot with people. They come in and they're in the loop. They've
Yeah.
already got this disease, this pain, this and they've got a title now,
Yep.
which a lot of times those titles mean we don't know what's wrong, but we're going to throw it into this. You
Right.
you have
Exactly.
you have 7 or 5 of the 10 markers, so
Well,
we have nothing else to put it
here
in.
we
We'll call it
go.
this.
Your
and
name.
and then you look it up and then you watch TV and this drug will help you with it and this drug will help you with it, or take this more tests and you still feel shitty. There's a naturopath in town here in Tucson.
Yeah.
She won't even work with people until she tests their cortisol levels.
I just find that so progressive and so amazing.
Yeah, especially
Wow,
after hearing this.
she's a smart lady right
Yeah,
there.
so she says all of our diseases, all of
Hmm.
our problems, most of them are coming from cortisol dysregulation,
You know what? That's what Kenna
right?
was going for too, and she did that research with that group of women. And she, as we know, she was quite impressed with
Yeah,
BioTouch increasing the quality of life.
and she's still impressed. She says, and what happened after the pandemic, she's seeing a high rise in a lowering of interleukin 12 levels, people living in much more stress, and she's
Yeah,
seeing a higher incidence of cancers and tumors,
right.
since the pandemic. And so we get stuck into that cycle, and BioTouch can just help break it. And the consistency is important too. I mean, imagine if you took, yeah, and we're talking here, folks, maybe, if you really did a few sets and you took 3 to 5 minutes
Yeah,
and you did it maybe once, twice a week would be really ideal, every few
really nice.
days.
Yeah.
And we can say, yes, it's going to break your stress cycle. It's going to help you have rest, relaxation, clarity, and the clarity of the ability to talk with your medical care provider. A lot of times you go into these offices and you sit there and they close the door, right? And you're waiting and
Oh
you're
yeah.
and you're freezing,
Yeah.
and then they come in and we've been lucky. We've had some medical practitioners who've actually spent the last one with Jenny. She spent a full hour with Jenny.
Oh,
I mean, we were
wow.
very impressed with that one.
I know.
But because we have BioTouch and because we have this calmness with us too, we were able to ask questions. If she said something and we didn't understand it, I don't understand that. And I think BioTouch gives you that peace of mind to know that your questions aren't stupid, your inquiries are always beneficial,
Yeah.
and then you can make conscious choices.
I think because our foundation is that people ask how, well, what's going to happen? Well, we don't know. The beauty of it is that BioTouch recognizes that we all have the same bodies, but they look different and they respond differently. By us holding a neutral point for everyone, we don't know. We don't know how long. We don't, that's that part of self-awareness, but it removes us out of their way when you start telling people, well, you needed this and you don't do that. When we just shut it, I really believe the healing process can really kick in even deeper,
Right.
because we're not diagnosing. We're not saying you should do that and you shouldn't do that. We don't name anything. We don't tell them how often to get it and when you should get it and how you should get it and all that. We just touch. And I really think those who, in a consistent way, practice BioTouch with none of that, I think the body is able to heal even faster.
Right.
Because all that stuff is not in their way. It opens everything.
So, folks, we see it 35, 40 years. I mean, we're not pulling the wool over your eyes here. It's just simple. Life is simple. You don't need to learn to be a healer. You are a healer.
Right.
We're all healers. Let's reach out and touch one another. So again, go to our website, justtouch.com. If you want nothing but the greeting, it's there for free. If you want the whole manual, there's testimonials, there's workbooks, there's a whole list of health conditions. If your health condition isn't listed there, hey, send us an email. We'll do a workshop on it. Because you only need a few sets of points for any condition. You don't have to know the whole system to address the particular condition.
Well, that's why our workshops are so cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and our next workshop's going to be on PTSD. That's going to be in December 28th.
We'll need that one.
Yeah, PTSD by Jody Scott, who did some work with natural psychotherapy and now has a place called Sierra Sage Herbs. We're looking forward to hearing her take on PTSD. And if you want to take some of our classes, one of them is if you're here in Tucson or you want to come visit Tucson, this is a great time of the year to visit Tucson.
It is. It is.
Up into the mid-high 70s in the day and chilly in the evening. And we have a class coming December 9 and 10 with Eileen Webster. It's a 2-day training in person, live and in person. And if you're a massage therapist or a doula or a nurse, you can get 10 CE credits for that class. Otherwise, our next virtual training is going to be in January. We already have a few people signed up for that one.
I know.
And that's just a 1-day class. You get the ebook, and then we meet and we break out into groups to make sure you understand how to apply BioTouch. But again, just get hold of us and we'll work with you personally. This is our job. This is our mission. This is our heart is in this. So,
passion.
Yes. So put love into action. Reach out and touch someone.
Touch someone.
Bev, have a nice week. And
Thank
we'll
you,
see
Paul.
you.
You too.
We'll see you all next week. Bye now.
Bye.
Days in and days out, space and time is all about feeling pressure with the pain, in sunshine or in the rain. Living is a place in mind, giving is being kind. When the pain is too much, what we need is BioTouch. When I'm touching you, you are touching me. It's a simple thing to do and a natural way to be.